Hello everybody, and today we'll be working on Daily Bugle from TryHackMe. So why don't we get started on this? So first we can do an nmap scan, but I've already done that. So that's the scan I did, and you can check out the open ports. So we have port 22 SSH. Maybe if we get some credentials we can log in there. We also have port 80 Apache. Looks like it might also be running on Joomla, so we might be able to look for some vulnerabilities there. And we also have a MySQL server. Alright, so why don't we go over to the web server and we can check it out. So we'll let that load up. Alright, and it loaded up. It took some time, but looks like it says Spider-Man robs bank, so that's the answer to the first question: who robbed the bank? It's Spider-Man. And now what we can do is, what is the Joomla version? So we can take a look over here, and we can also try some admin login just to see if that works. And it probably won't. Okay, so why don't we start for dirsearch just to see if there's anything out there that we should be looking at. And I'll use dirsearch for that, and the capital E is for all the extensions, X exclude the error codes, recursive, and threads 100. So we'll let dirsearch start up, and while that's working we can try to search up Joomla version scanner. And the first thing that shows up is Rapid7, which is Metasploit. So I'm just going to start off Metasploit in the background. And we could take a look at this. This module scans a Joomla install for information about the underlying operating system and Joomla version. So that's what we want. And here's the command: use auxiliary scanner HTTP Joomla version. So why don't we just copy this and wait for Metasploit to start up. We can also see that it's also found a couple of things. We see administrator, includes language, libraries, media, templates, robots.txt. Check all those out. But let's find out if this version of Joomla is vulnerable. So if we do show options, we can see all the options, and all looks like all we need to set is the rhost. So why don't I copy this? I'm gonna do set rhost to that and just run. And looks like I found a version for us, Joomla version 3.7.0. That's the answer to that. Okay. So now what we can do is try to look for any exploits for this version. So we can just search up Joomla 3.7.0 exploits. We do see a couple of options. We see exploit DB, and we see a GitHub, and that GitHub will give you a Python script that you can check out, and you can use that if you want, but I'm going to be using the exploit DB with SQLMap. So I'm going to come down here, and this is the command that you can run using SQLMap. So yeah, we can try this out. We can just copy this. Let's exit on Metasploit, and we can change the local host to the IP address of the web server. You just copy this, paste it. This might take some time for you, but I've already done it, so it's really quick. But it might take some time for you if you're doing it for the first time. And we do see 5 available databases. We see information schema, Joomla, MySQL, performance schema, and test. So why don't we try to enumerate some of these databases so we can check out the tables in one of these. So I'm just going to up arrow so I can do the exact same command. And we want to keep all that, and I want to put -d. And I'm putting -d because SQLMap --help. -d is the database to enumerate. So we're doing the specific database of Joomla because that's probably where the login information will be at. And I'll just do --tables, and I'll print all the tables in that database. And just press enter here, and it gives you all these. Again, it might take some time for you if it's the first time you're doing it, but we can check out all these from the top and see if anything here might give us some login information. You can read through all that, but none of it seems interesting except for this one, users. It's probably the first thing you'll look at. So why don't we copy that? And if we look back at the SQLMap help to specify the table to look at, we just do -t, and we can paste this into quotes. Make sure you're putting it into quotes, and then we can do -- columns, and that'll enumerate all the columns in that table. We just press enter here, and you'll probably want to say yes. Alright, and we just press enter, and we'll press enter again. And this will try to find some columns for us, and we already see a couple of them: ID, name, username. Alright, so that's nice. We can probably try to check out that username now. So I'm gonna copy the exact same command I got over here, paste it, replace localhost with the IP address, and now what we can do is press -d database Joomla, the table, and I'll copy and paste it from over here. So we'll use this specific table, and we'll do -c for column, and we'll do username, and we'll do --dump to dump everything in there. We'll just press enter, and we do see one username, Jonah. Okay, so now let's come back up here, and because there's a username field, I'm sure there's going to be one for maybe password, which we will get from SQLMap once it tells us right here, password. So we'll just replace, instead of username, we'll do password, and we'll dump what's in there. So we'll just press enter, and here's the password. It looks like a hash, so why don't we crack this hash? What we can use is John the Ripper to crack that. So I'm gonna head over to my walkthrough directory, and I'll vim to crack. I'll just paste that in there, and we use John -- word list user share word list rocky.txt to crack. And I've already done this, so it's in my pod file. I'll just show it to crack, and the password is spiderman123. So we do have a login, and we have one for Jonah. So remember, we have SSH, so why don't we try to SSH into this? And we just do Jonah 10 10 158 127. We'll just say yes, and we'll see if this password works here. As you see, it doesn't. So we have other things to log into. We did see a login page over here, so why don't we try Jonah? I'll try a Spider-Man password. We'll see if that works. And it does work, but we don't really see anything here, no admin page. But what we did see from dirsearch earlier was an administrator's page, c/administrator. So why don't we go over there and see if we can log into anything. And you can see here's Joomla, and we can log in. So why don't we put Jonah, and we'll paste spiderman123. And we do see this Joomla control panel. So to get a shell, maybe we can just search up Joomla to shell. And here's an article right over here, and we can check that out. And we do see a couple of things. So to get a shell, we have to log in first, and then come up here to extensions. And then it wants us to click templates, I think. Yep, templates. And once we're here, we have to click templates again, and then go into the bees, details, and files. So why don't we do that? And it tells us to come down here to index.php. And then it tells us to put in a PHP Reverse Shell. So we can do that. We'll just search up pentest monkey PHP Reverse Shell. And I'll put in GitHub at the end. Here it is. So we can come over here, raw, and I'll just copy and paste this thing in here. We can come all the way back up and change the IP address to our TryHackMe VPN IP address. So I'll just come up here. This should be it. So it should be 10.13.6.254. 254. Yep. And now all we need to do is save this, and I'll start up a netcat listener. I'll RL wrap it, and we'll do port 1234. And now to execute it, we just need to click template preview. As you can see, we do have a shell. So why don't we upgrade this shell and come over to pentest.ws, and we'll come over here to shells, and we'll copy this one and upgrade our shell like that. Okay, so now let's do who am I. We're Apache, so I guess we're on the web server, and we can go over to /home, and we do see another user, jjameson, and we're permission denied. So why don't we do sudo -l to see what privileges we have, and it looks like we do need a password. We can try spiderman123, and that doesn't work. So that does not work. We can try to do something else. Why don't we run linPEAS now? And if you don't have linPEAS, I'll leave it in the description. But let me start up a web server over here, PyWeb. That's just my shortened version of doing it. And we can wget it. So why don't we head over to a directory we know we can write in, dev.shm, and we can wget that over. And I guess my IP address is 10.13.6.254 on port 80, and we can do linPEAS.sh. And we do have linPEAS, so why don't we mark it as executable, and linPEAS.sh, and I'll close this web server. Alright, and linPEAS is now running, so I'll bring you guys back when it's done. Alright, and linPEAS is done, so why don't we come all the way back up, and there's a lot of stuff to look at. So alright, we start off with the Linux version and a sudo version. We can just scroll past a lot of these and try to look for that red and yellow. Nothing much interesting here. Just looking at some of these, and we do have a red and yellow over here, analyzing that service file. You can check that out. But let's keep going down. Nothing here. And we do see the users with console, and we do see that jjameson. And we keep going down. See if we find anything interesting. Let's keep going. Let's keep heading down. Nothing yet. It looks like there's a lot of stuff over here. Yeah, that is hot. Okay, and it says searching files in config PHP files. So why don't we copy this password, and we can try to do something with that. Looks like there's not a lot left. Alright, so why don't we try sudo -l, and we can try this password. And again, it does not work. Okay, so why don't we try to switch users to root with this password. And that does not work either. So why don't we try to search users to jjameson. And that does work. So now we are logged in as jjameson. ls, we can go back to home and jjameson. ls, and that's our user.txt file. That should be some of the questions that we have. Yep, and now we have to get the root flag. So why don't we sudo -l, and we are able to run yum. So why don't we head over to gtfobins, see what we can abuse. So go back to yum, sudo. So we do have something over here. Generate it with fpm and upload it to the target. And we have this one, spawn interactive root shell by loading a custom plugin. We can try this out. So I guess we just have to copy and paste all of these one by one. So we'll dump that. Do this, and now we have to paste all this in. Plugins 1. Now onto the second one. The third one. Oops. Now the final command, and it should give us root. If we do who am I, we are root. So now we head over to /root ls, and that's your root.txt. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.